Hello everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, July 24th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. First up, Panda 4.2 has officially been released by Google. It's rolling out very slowly. It started rolling out supposedly on Saturday of last week, this past weekend, so just about six days ago or so. And nobody really noticed, which is very interesting. So I spoke with Google Wednesday night, I believe, and Google told me, again, there was a few things about this. This is just a data refresh of Panda. Yes, it wasn't there was not a refresh of Panda since 4.1, which was about 10 months ago. There were some fluctuations about 9 months ago around that as well. But the real last one was back in September. Maybe some people saw some fluctuations back in October of last year. So it's been a while since there was a Panda update. And the difference here is that it's going to roll out very slowly. Instead of weeks or days, it's actually going to take months to be rolled out. And why? Because Google said it's going to roll out on a page-by-page basis on some level. So a site might not fully recover for months and months. Every page needs to, I guess, pick up on that change. It is too late to update your website and be impacted by 4.2. Of course, 4.3, when that comes out, it will make a difference. But for 4.2, I believe fundamentally the score for Panda 4.2 has been released. It just takes time to propagate, I believe, to all the pages on your website. So you can't really do anything about recovering for 4.1 in 4.2. It's too late for 4.2, but 4.3, which could happen who knows when, maybe in 6 months from now, that will be the case. So again, it's rolling out very slowly. You should, if you were impacted by Panda 4.1 and you made some changes, you should see a recovery slowly over time. If you're hurt by it, you might see a decline over time very slowly. And Google has told this to me in the past. This is a 2.2 or 3% impact on Google's queries, unimpacted queries. So it's not a small update. It's smallish, but it's definitely not tiny. And again, most of the SEOs out there that follow Panda didn't really see this coming. I didn't see this coming until around Wednesday when I looked at my stats. And then Google told me, I'm like, let me look again. And I said, oh wait, there it is. And let me go ahead and show you. This morning, Friday, I posted a blog post showing more detailed stats on my own recovery at the Search Engine Roundtable. And let me let that load. So you can see over here, here's a graph showing me the past week or so of traffic. These are Saturdays and Sundays where I don't post anything. But you can see there's an uptick in Google organic traffic. So over here, yesterday, and also here, there's definitely a sign of uptick. And that's like a 35% lift in my organic traffic from Google specifically than I typically would see week over week. And I've done this, I looked way past just these weeks. I went back months and months post Panda 4.1. And this is the trend I saw. Even with the Saturday, Sunday, you saw an uptick in the Saturday traffic when Google supposedly released it. And it's small, it's 35%, which is definitely significant. But when you compare that to my pre-penalty, my pre-Panda penalty, pre-Panda 4.1, I had a new graph. Let's see if I can make that even bigger. I have a new graph here. It shows, this is the pre-Panda, this is like a year ago, before there was Panda 4.1, before I was hit by Panda, and then post-Panda 4.2. So you can see there is an uptick. I'm slowly reaching up to get there, but I'm still about a 33% difference. And this is looking at not just week to week, but over the overall average. There's a 33% difference in terms of my traffic from when I was Panda-free to now where I'm supposedly getting Panda-free, or I have less of a Panda penalty going forward, at least based on the data. Hopefully over time that little thing will actually decrease in terms of that significant change between the pages, and hopefully I'll be completely Panda free and I'll have as much traffic as possible to this website. So that's good to know. Again, people were still doubting me. People said, no, Google's fooling you, they're lying to you, you didn't speak to the right person at Google, the PR people are just messing around with you, and that's not true. I did speak with people who would know this information firsthand, and for those who doubted me, I asked this morning, I'm like, all right, I had enough of this. Gary from Google, go ahead and tell me. People think I'm lying, I said. This is Gary at Google. I said, people think I'm lying, that I made this up, that Google told me it's rolling out slowly. You can confirm on Twitter that Panda has been rolling out. And Gary said a few minutes later, yes, last weekend we began rolling out a Panda refresh that will take a few months to complete. It affects 2 to 3% of queries. So there you go. Again, If you don't believe the data, you don't believe me, you don't believe whatever, there's Gary from Google specifically saying that. You still might not believe it, but it does seem like there was a Panda refresh that rolled out. Let's move on. Some people thought there was a Bing update because a lot of people noticed traffic changes in their Bing organic traffic, and I even noticed that as well. I looked at several sites, and I saw organically on the Bing traffic side, there was about a 20%, some 5%, some higher than 20%, but on average, probably somewhere around like 18% traffic drops from Bing. And I looked at it, and it looks like somehow Bing or Google Analytics and the tools tracking Bing organic traffic showed or is showing a lot of that organic traffic as referral traffic. So it's actually a little bit messed up. I asked Google and Bing for a comment. So far, I really haven't gotten anything. They're still looking into it. But it seems like there was no Bing update. It seems like there was a change in how Bing enables their referrals. So hopefully that's nothing going on there. Talking about updates, on Monday I posted about maybe there was a Phantom update last week. This is well before the Panda weekend. This was like a week ago Monday as opposed to last Saturday. And you can see there's lots of different traffic. Glenn Gabe posts a lot of different things going on. There's small little tremors around Phantom, which is a core algorithm search update that Glenn named Phantom. Google did a post about TLDs and basically saying all the TLDs are the same. Google doesn't treat a TLD any better than another TLD. The only difference you might have is that some TLDs are geo-specific, like .co.uk, .co.il. Google would actually target those more to a geo region, like specifically ranking better in the UK for google.co.uk. But overall, Google doesn't treat a new generic top-level domain name like .guru or .whatever any better than it would treat a .com, .net, .whatever. So again, you can read the FAQs. This is something that Google has said over and over again, but it's important for them to say again. Gary from Google went ahead and said that using a display none could actually backfire. He basically said Google will weigh the content in display none a lot less. And Google has said this over time. John Mueller said this with hidden content, tabbed content, and stuff like that. Google will weigh the content less. But with display none, it's very often used by webmasters and designers to make special CSS design changes and so forth. So just keep that in mind. Google said that bad validation, HTML validation, doesn't hurt your rankings, but it could hurt your schema and structured data. Obviously, structured data and schema is very dependent about the structure and the schema being exactly a specific case, whereas Google knows that most websites out there have HTML validation errors. So it needs to crawl the web. It doesn't have to depend on every single website being perfect. But in terms of structured data, if you want your rich snippets to show nicely, if you want your hreflang, if you want your rel no follows or meta tags to picked up properly, you still have to make sure that markup is valid, whereas Google will still rank and crawl your website fine without it. On the rich snippets topic, Google has once said, again, that rich snippets do not belong on your homepage, generally. And John Mueller said this back a year ago. Gary Ilias, or pronouncing it wrong, basically said it again this yesterday in Stack Overflow, basically saying, no, generally your homepage does not deserve or need rich snippets. Again, Google keeps saying this over and over again. Just be careful. If you start playing with Google on the rich snippet side, they might go ahead and issue a manual action. Another hint coming from Google about app interstitials. These are things that, when you go to a web page, it says, hey, instead of looking at the content on my web page, click on this, it will open the app and you'll be taken to the app. Or you can say no thanks and go to the mobile site. Google says they tried this, even with Google+, they tried it for a week or two or for months, and it actually led to user engagement being very, very poor. So there's some stats they shared, 9% of the visits resulted in only on people clicking on that Get App button, and 69% of those visits actually led to people leaving the page, never coming back. And then when they dropped the interstitial, they saw a 17% increase in their mobile website traffic on that page, and they saw Google Plus iOS native app installs actually had no impact in terms of downgrade. So because of that, they removed it. And this is just one more hint that Google is going to probably bake into their algorithm, their mobile-friendly algorithm, that app interstitials are a bad thing and you don't want to have them. So remove them now before Google releases their mobile-friendly algorithm, which, again, it's just hints and hints and hints over time about this. Gary from Google said the top 10 websites that are verified in Google Webmaster Tools are all over HTTPS. This is another by search impressions. Obviously, Wikipedia, different websites that actually have the most search impressions are all over HTTPS. So keep that in mind. It obviously doesn't say more than just stats because these big websites have HTTPS, but Gary wanted to share that. Yeah, it looks like the Google's People Also Ask feature, which we covered in the past back in April, and this is what it looks like. People also ask. It's right in the search results. That it's going live, or it's live for most people. I personally see it too. So if you see it, it's definitely one of those things that's kind of a way for Google to show more featured snippets in the search results. Google's new mobile-facing, not even mobile-facing, but local-facing search UI is going live, specifically Hotel Finder. This is the old interface, which is pretty bland, and then this is the new one where you click on a result and it kind of pops it out. And this is going forward with the hotel interface as well as some other local mobile interfaces. And Google confirmed that it's going live. Google also said that on July 28th, which is Tuesday, any more Google My Business listings that are unverified will probably be shut down or removed. This is not the first time we were told this. We told this earlier last month that Google's going to go remove unverified listings. They didn't say when, but now it looks like it's going to be on July 28th. So just take a look at that and make sure to verify your Google My Business listings. Yahoo local bulk listings seems to be discontinued. Yahoo has been putting local SEOs on hold, and now they're telling people to contact LocalWorks, which is powered by Yext, to handle their local listings in terms of bulk submissions. So if you are a local SEO, that's very important for you guys to know. And finally, on the Maps end, Google releases a really neat feature, which they had before with location history, called Google Maps Timeline, and it basically lets you go ahead and you can actually access it in the menu over here. You click the menu, it drops down, it says your timeline, and then it actually takes you through your travels month by month, day by day, year by year, over the years, if you let Google track your location history. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search and Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. Again, today is Friday, July 24th. Everyone have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next. Bye.